You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. At the moment we're talking to James Crane from the Kent County Council Community Wardens. James, how can our listeners find out who their community warden actually is?
Well, the easiest way is through the Kent County Council website, which is www.kent.gov.uk/community wardens. But simply the wardens who cover Swale are myself in Laysdown Warden and Eastchurch, David Osborne in Sheerness, Nick Mayett in Kemsey and Iwade, Georgina Springle in Newington, and our newest member of the team who came out of training last week, Jack Packman, who is based in Faversham. Our team leader, Maurice Stewart, is based jointly at the Swale Community Safety Unit, which is at the Swale Council offices in Sittingbourne. He also comes over to the Swale Bridge Partnership in Sheerness, above the Job Centre, and at the Canterbury Community Safety Unit as well.
So, James, do you work alongside the police, or are you independent?
We are independent from the police, although we do work closely with them, because many of the items that we deal with are also matters of criminal law. I mean, just for example, we've got fly tipping, graffiti, vandalism and antisocial behaviour. And
I know you next wanted to talk about Halloween and bonfire night, which is hard to believe we're around at that time already. Yeah, I know. It seems like almost yesterday that we were looking back in July at what should have been our summer, and here we are with only a few weeks to go until the end of the year. But anyway, talking about Halloween, that's obviously about 2 or 3 weeks away. I've got a few guidelines for those people who wish to go trick-or-treating. And pretty much, mostly this is aimed for the younger to middle kids. And it's if you're going to go out, try and take an adult with you, as quite a few houses won't open the door to a group of kids that just happen to turn up and knock on the door. So if you can go an adult with you, looks like it's a supervised group, and people generally feel a bit safer looking at that. Try and only call at houses where people know you. I know it's tempting to bang on every single door going down a road and try and get as much sweets as possible, but if you try and limit it to the houses from people that you know, you might stand a better chance of getting sweets and candy from people. If you see a sign in the door asking you not to call at the house, then please respect those residents' wishes and don't knock at that house. Could be for a number of reasons why they don't want you to call there. And most importantly is don't throw eggs and flour at people. I know the whole point of trick or treat is about that, but some things, coming back to what I said in my last point about some of the matters that I deal with about vandalism and antisocial behaviour, throwing eggs and flour does create one heck of a mess, and really trying to clean it off is a right pain, and especially sometimes eggs can be thrown to a point where they can damage windows and vehicles and such like. So again, don't throw eggs and flour at people. But this time of year, many shops won't actually sell eggs and or flour to anyone under the age of 16, just so they can limit the effects that people might say from them. I mentioned earlier about getting signs so asking not to call. They are available certainly up in Laysdown. I've given some to the post office and a couple of shops around there. I've got some at the Laysdown police office. There's definitely some at the Sheerness Gateway and Sheerness Police Station, and there will also be some available in some of the libraries around the island. Going on to bonfire night, obviously that's about 3 or 4 weeks away. Basically, it's far safer to go to an organised display. Basically, someone else has put the time and effort in to get the fireworks and safe distances away from the bonfires and the areas where they're going to be let off. So turn up to one of them. It's all going to be done for you. If you're going to buy fireworks, don't go for what people would refer to as the under the counter cheap deals, as these fireworks generally don't have the British Standard safety mark, or as it's displayed there, BS 7114.
That shows that they've gone through some pretty strict quality checks, and that these fireworks are safe for public display. There are about 5 different categories of fireworks, going from level 1, I think it's level 1, which is your indoor fireworks, right up to your level 5s, which are professional displays that, even to have them, require specific licences. So again, be mindful of what fireworks it is you're willing to buy. It is obviously against the law for anyone under the age of 18 to buy fireworks, or even be in possession of a firework if you are under the age of 18. I mentioned earlier about the licences. It's also illegal for you to own fireworks that are intended for professional display. And it's also against council bylaws to set fireworks off after 11 o'clock at night and before 7 o'clock in the morning. So from 2300 to 0700, that is a firework exclusion time. There are, of course, exceptions to this, and that's November the 5th, which is bonfire night, when that time is extended to midnight. And you also got New Year's Eve, Diwali, and the Chinese New Year, when the limit is extended to 1 o'clock in the morning. Further information about fireworks and the firework code can be found on www.dti, that's Delta Tango India, .gov.uk/fireworks. And just to quickly go back to the legal stuff, if fireworks are used in a manner that causes a nuisance, then you can be liable for an £80 fine. And if fireworks are used dangerously, a prison sentence may be issued, and the maximum sentence for this is life. So really, what I'm trying to say is check what you're buying, make sure what you're doing is legal, and last thing I want to see is anyone get injured by not following these tips.
We're next going to talk to James about how you can make yourself more visible when on an unlit road at night.
Yes, indeed. Obviously, we've noticed it over the past few weeks that as the year's drawn on and the months slip past, that it is getting darker a lot earlier. I mean, certainly this time last month it was still pretty daylight outside. So really, trying to make yourself more visible on unlit roads. We've all had it when those of us that drive going down the road and suddenly we see someone walking along, and you just didn't know they were there until your headlights picked them up. So quite simply, to those of you who decide to walk along roads, just make sure you wear bright clothing. It's surprising how much warm clothing is actually manufactured in dark, sober colours. I mean, when all the summer range is out, it's bright blues, yellows, greens, whatever. As soon as it comes this time of year, all the winter clothing comes out, and it's dark blues, reds, blacks, all the really dark colours designed to keep you warm. This is fine for motorists, but not so for pedestrians. Yeah, it's going to keep you warm, but it doesn't help those of us who are driving vehicles and not being able to see you. So preferably, if you can, wear a reflective coat and or leggings. If this isn't done, as a minimum, please consider wearing a reflective sash over your outer garments. For some of you hearing this, you're probably thinking, that doesn't sound as if it fits in with fashions. Well, I'd rather you not fit in with fashion than to be involved in a collision with the vehicle because you didn't see you till the last minute. Secondly, carry a torch. I don't mean the light from your phone, although that would suffice if you had nothing else. Powerful torches are nowadays small and reasonably lightweight, and many of these are of LED design, which are reliable, extremely bright, and the light they give out can be seen more easily than the conventional torch bulb. And quite a few of these will be capable of flashing their beam. And again, flashing lights can often be more noticeable than a steady light. And finally, walk where you can be seen. Now, I don't expect people to walk in the middle of the road. Even if no footpath exists, that would be foolish. But it's equally foolish to remain in the banks and hedgerows where drivers would find it hard to spot you, even if they were expecting you to be there.
James, if there is no footpath present, what side of the road should you actually walk on?
Well, this follows on from what I spoke about a couple of minutes ago about how to make yourself more visible. And quite simply, there's no single hard and fast rule other than to say you should walk where you can best be seen. On a straight road, it's easy, and you should, or more important, you ought to walk on the right-hand side, where you'll be facing the oncoming traffic. Thereby, if you can see the traffic coming towards you, you can at least get out of the traffic's way, even if it hasn't seen you. Problem comes when you approach a bend, especially if you're walking on a country road, perhaps with hedging or a high bank running alongside. If the road bends to the right, you should consider crossing the road so you'll be walking on the outside of the bend. So on the right hand corner, you want to walk on the left hand side. You're always more visible to traffic if you keep to the outside of the bend. This is because oncoming traffic from in front of you will often stick close to the near side to give as much clearance as possible to any traffic coming towards them so they can avoid collisions. If you didn't cross over the road, keep on the outside of the bend, you would risk being run over by those drivers who hug the near side edge. You must, of course, keep very aware of any traffic coming from behind you and be prepared to stop, turn sideways and stand still to allow the traffic to pass by. I am aware that some advice clings to the rule that you should always walk on the right to face oncoming traffic, but this does increase the risk to yourself on right-hand bends. Left-hand bends aren't so much of a problem, as by facing the oncoming traffic, you'll stay on the outside of the bend where you're always most visible.
And of course, don't forget that with the Tuned In app, if you search Daniel Monday Night Community Show into it, up will come the podcast feed, and you can access the most recent interviews as podcasts that I've been doing here at the Monday Night Community Show. We're talking to James Crane from the Kent County Council Community Wardens at the moment, all as part of the regular slot we do with him. And I know you wanted to let's cover some cycle safety.
Yes, indeed. Again, this does link into the last couple of points that I've done. And really, this is to cover things like your PPE, your personal protective equipment for it. Quite simply, lights. One of the most important things, secondly to the helmet, which I'll come on to in a minute. Basically, simple checks for your lights, so just to make sure your batteries are fully charged and the bulbs or LEDs work. And basically a white static for front and red for back. I mentioned earlier that LEDs are far more reliable for bulbs, and they can give out a much brighter and clearer light, as well as lasting for a longer period of time. Cycle helmets. Wearing a helmet might not be cool for kids, but quite simply they save lives. I've been to a couple of road collisions that I've come across when I've been up in Laysdown. Both of whom being cyclists. One was wearing a helmet, one wasn't. The person who wasn't wearing a helmet got taken off to hospital with quite serious head injuries. The one who was also taken to hospital, but his injuries were much less, as the helmet did as what it was designed to do, absorb the impact. So the helmet was wrecked, but his skull wasn't. So, helmets are designed to take any impact away from the skull and prevent serious injury. So when you're checking to see the condition of the helmet, check to see if it's got any cracks or other visible defects. If it has, consider replacing it, as it's taken a blow somewhere and it could have weakened it, and this may then cause an injury to you if you were to come off. Other safety clothing, I mentioned it 2 questions ago. You got a high-vis jacket or a sash. Especially it makes you more visible at night. These can be picked up relatively inexpensively from a cycle shop or any motoring retailer who sells breakdown kits for cars. I dare say even some of the supermarkets would have them as well. Certainly on petrol station forecourts they have them. And when checking your bike for maintenance, consider things like your brakes, your tyres, your gears, as well as everything else. They all need checking, so they're not going to let you down. If your bike tyre is looking a bit bald and the tread's barely visible, this will have the same effect as a bald car tyre, which is in the same state, and thereby your slowing and stopping distances may be affected. Again, consider getting them replaced. I know this sounds odd, but put your bike in for a service at any cycle shop. They'll give it a look over. Sort of things that need to be doing, like checking your chain tension or your brakes, your gears or whatever, and really just make sure your bike is fit for the road.
James, before you go, do you have any useful contact details for our listeners?
Yeah, certainly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the website for the Kent Community Warden Service. Phone numbers for the police, 3 different ones for Swale Council, training standards, and the fireworks website address again. So to find out more information about the Kent County Council Community Warden Service, it's www.kent.gov.uk/community wardens. Kent Police, obviously the emergency number is 999, and for non-emergencies it is simply 101. Swale Council, their call centre is available on 01795 417 850. If you've got any noise nuisance claims, if it's during office hours, you can do it on that phone number, same as you can contact any other council service through the 417850. But if you need to get hold of noise nuisance out of hours, the mobile number is 07881 817 601. Same thing again for dog warden. In hours you can go through the call centre. Out of hours it is 07795 237 479. That will put you through to the on-call out of hours dog warden. Kent Training Standards, I've got 2 phone numbers whether you want East Kent or West Kent. East Kent is 03000 412020. West Kent is 03000 412000. And for information regarding fireworks, it's www.dti.gov.uk/fireworks. That's DTI Delta Tango India.
James, as always, thank you very, very much for coming along, all as part of our regular slot with the Kent County Council Community Wardens.
Yes, thank you for inviting me back once again, Daniel.
That is James Crane, all as part of our regular slot here at the Monday Night Community Show with the Kent County Council Community Wardens.